Dear viewers of Gaza Media, dear Lebang people, dear Liberian people, we are here in Boston, Massachusetts for LECUDO USA Convention 2025, and His Majesty the Founder of Fontem happened to be around. He has been traveling around the world from different continents to different countries, solving problems for Lebang and Liberian people, projecting the cultural heritage, different issues. And I had the privilege to just say, let me seize a very little opportunity and talk to His Majesty, just on the few words. His Majesty, we have encountered in so many different events. And today you spoke, it's like, I don't know, it's like somebody would think that maybe I've already seen my question to you. That's the few things I want to talk to you. You said some of it in the hall. Looking at the convention, let me start with the cultural aspect. The excitement, seeing the young children dancing that way. I remember you came sometime in Ohio, they were not playing drums so well, you encourage people. Do you think there has been some progress?
Thank you very much for the question. From what I saw yesterday compared to what I have been seeing or witnessing in other conventions, there's a lot of progress. I was so amazed to see the young people in their numbers. They were not just like they gathered a few children they found around to come and do what they did. It showed that it was some sort of rehearsal that have taken place over a long time. And when you look at the young people who were dancing, they were not dancing like people were dancing to fulfill all righteousness. They were dancing with the joy in their heart. They were enjoying exactly what they were doing. And that really motivates me that we are passing on our culture to the younger generation. We get them involved in the activities. So I had every reason to dance as much as I could. So I also encourage them. And I've always done that, not just here. Anywhere I go, be it at home, wherever the younger generation within the dancing ranks, I always like to pull them close to me. My reason for doing that is to motivate them. When I pull them close to me that we should dance together, I feel that it will motivate them to continue the dance.
I saw it myself. Even at some time I was like, I wish I was not even carrying this car. Your Majesty, I know this is May, just like May, June, 3 months. We were in Arizona. From Arizona, you toured around. Like, now, Arizona, you try to explain some of the things that happened in Arizona. Many people were not even there. Overall, what is your takeaway in terms of Liberian Paradise, that vision?
Liberian Paradise is a very wonderful vision. It's a vision that we're looking at where do we want our division to be in the future. I think, like we always say, that he who does not dream is a dead person. When you have that dream of where you want to be, then you work towards going to achieve that dream. But like I said in the hall, in order for us to achieve that dream, we must have all hands on deck. When I mean all hands on deck, I mean all the fandoms that make up the BLM must come on board. And that's why when I was talking about LECUDO, I said every son and daughter of Lebang should belong to LECUDO. But before belonging to LECUDO, you should belong to LECUDO. Likewise, if I may say, other sons and daughters of the other fandoms should belong to LECUDO, but at the same time belong to their fandom development organization. But the trend which you and I know is that most LECUDO meetings, at least for those that I know, in the US, in Europe, have always demonstrated, even in Canada, that majority are sons and daughters of Lebang. Not a bad thing again, but they should also belong to the fandom development organization. And other sons and daughters of our brother or sister fandoms should equally come to LECUDO, so that together we can contribute our funds, together we can contribute our ideas, together we can contribute our know-how in order to make Libya the paradise that we all desire.
Yeah, His Majesty, I know sometimes I just feel like the work that you have in you, you don't just go and sit in this occasion. You have to write a speech. You have to conceptualize. You have to sit while people are talking. You also have to put your thought together. Maybe at the end, give your own contribution. You left and went to our palace at Amazi. Then after the deliberation, I think it was during election, you left the hall and said, no, you don't want people to be afraid that maybe the fund would influence them. But His Majesty, I want to ask you, have you ever encountered a situation, or do you think that maybe if you sit in the hall, like we're in the hall, somebody might want to ask a question, they may be afraid of you, and maybe they may hold back?
Yes, I have had situations like that where people say, as we say in mother tongue, "Bobo me for," and then they will not express their minds. So during the elections in the palace in Amazi, I decided it is not in the LECUDO constitution. It has never happened before. All the past LECUDO elections, I have always sat there, except those that take place right here in the US, where I always leave the hall. But for the election of the President General of LECUDO, I've always sat there. But this time around, I decided that let me listen to the voices of the people. If you are a leader, you are not listening to what the people are saying, then I don't know what you are doing there. If the people always say, "Bobo me for," and then they do it like this, then maybe you should give them a chance where a me for will not be there, and we should see the results they can come out with, and then we should compare both results. So my motivation, or the reason why I left the hall, is to see what they can come out with, and then compare the results they achieve with me being there, and what they will achieve with me not being there, and what they have always achieved with me being there, and then we see how we can move Lebang with the best option.
Yeah, His Majesty, even like myself sitting close to you, I was even afraid to come into this hall, to this room that we are still in right now. Yeah, last time I was so panicking. I'm trying to compose myself. So, this idea, people are always like afraid, except you are those kind of, it's a sign of respect. Is there any way that you can encourage people that, even because you want to listen as well, at the same time you want people to maybe say something that may not be correct, so that will also help you make your judgment or make recommendation at the end where you are maybe pouring libation, maybe you are blessing the ceremony or blessing the occasion. So I don't know, is there any way that you can maybe motivate, or like, okay, even though you are there, people can say something but without disrespecting others?
Yes, I always tell our people that it's always good that we should make our points, but making our points in a very respectful manner. We are all human beings. You must respect one another. So I always tell them that my being there does not actually stop you from saying what you have in mind, but say it in a respectful manner. Unless you really have something that you say it to hurt another person, you're saying it to destroy rather than to build, then you shouldn't have no problem to say it. You should have no problem to say it. I've always admired people who, when they want to make their point, they say, "Bobo fwa malejo, bewutebo alesunga jinenyo." You see, that's a very beautiful. That is what I call positive criticism. If you have to say the truth, and you say it in a very respectful manner, yes, I'm human. I should be able to also receive it in a very positive manner, and with those positive criticism, we build. Today at the convention, you heard Fomonya said we should not always be ready to hear what we want to hear, but we should also be ready to receive those things that we don't want to hear and build on it. That's what makes us better people.
Thank you, His Majesty. I think you cleared that point. You cleared my own mind too. So, yeah, His Majesty, you went to Europe for LECUDO EU convention in Germany, in Stockholm. Yeah, I would like us to dwell on this point a little bit. There were two takeaway messages. I listened to your speech. You make a recommendation. Maybe I later on find out that maybe you spoke later on in the evening, when during the day, where you really put forth that they should form a commission that will look into the artifacts. But to my surprise, that wasn't there. I reached out to the coordinator. We have not seen the amendment of that publication. I don't know if you are aware. But now my question is, how important, I think you mentioned it while in the hall, the importance of this artifact to the Lebang people, to us, to our heritage, to our tradition.
I thank you very much. Before coming to your question, I really recommended that there should be a resolution from the Stuttgart Convention to form a committee, like more or less like a pressure group, that is going to follow up on our artifacts which are sitting out there in Germany. We have sons and daughters in Europe, some residing in Germany, who probably have not had time to go visit these artifacts. Some have actually gone and visited the artifacts, but they are not doing enough to ensure that they are returned to our home. But you and I know that these artifacts were not created to be stored in museums in Europe. Our forefathers made these artifacts as tools. They are working tools. They are artifacts that we're using for cleansing purposes. They are artifacts that we use for fertility purposes. There are so many of them that we use for appeasement purposes. And now we don't have these artifacts to carry out all these activities that they have to be doing. You see, when I went to Europe, to Germany for the first time in 2022, during a conference at the museum in Cologne, I got a question that, if they give you these artifacts, where are you going to keep them? And I told the person that these things are not meant to be kept. They are meant to be used. So we'll take them back to their natural habitat for them to be used for the purpose for which they were created. So that is how important the artifacts are to us. They have roles that they have to be performing for us. And with their absence from our community, we have not been able to sufficiently carry out these responsibilities that they have to be doing. We have suffered greatly because we are not able to sufficiently do our cleansing. We are making do with just the residual that is there. There are so many women who would have prayed, invoked this with these artifacts for fertility purposes. We don't have we don't have access to that anymore. So it is our fervent wish, my fervent desire, that our artifacts be returned to us so that they can continue the purpose for which they were meant for.
Yes, thank you, His Majesty, for really explaining. And these are things that I think if that commission is formed, they reach out to you, you can give them some of this point to write maybe a memorandum or whatever and submit to those different commissions that are responsible or that oversee the artifact and all this kind of museum. Yeah. So, His Majesty, still on that same convention, I think there was another point, I think it was another resolution that was adopted. I believe His Royal Highness Chief Fontem, Dr. Asa, presented a point on, it was calling it Lebang Sovereign Fund. Yes. I've actually had an interview with him. He has explained it. Lebang people, I think it is important that people go and watch that presentation so that when His Majesty is speaking, because you also mentioned this point on the floor.
Yes.
I want you to maybe explain again, because you were saying it in the floor. People were like, maybe, what does this really mean? What would it mean to the Lebang people, to us, in terms of our development?
Yes, thank you. You know, every year we always come in talking about contributions for development, our development use. Yes, it's good that we always contribute. But if we can find a way where I will say our money work for us, we get our money and invest it in a financial asset that is going to generate us returns. and we use the returns to carry out our projects. Other communities have done it, and it's working for them. We are more than capable. I illustrated in the hall today. If you have 5,000 sons and daughters of Lebang who contribute £1,000,000 each, we have 5 billion. You get that money, find a secured financial asset, and you invest it in it. And maybe within a short time, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, it starts generating you income. You get the revenue or interest. Interest. You get the interest, and you carry out your projects without touching your capital.
Yes, that money is there.
The money is just there, and you're using just the interest. You don't touch your capital. That is the whole idea of the Lebang Sovereign Fund. We can equally, I did not just illustrate, I did not just talk about a sovereign fund which was born in Europe. We could still have a sovereign fund generated by an investment in a cultural center. But the whole idea is for us to have an income generating activity that we can always use this income to carry out our projects without really relying on the small contributions that we're having. Here in the US, it's $100. Back in Cameroon, until the last LECUDO General Assembly, it used to be 1,000 francs. With 1,000 francs, what can you really do? But if you can come together, take the bull by the horn, invest in a financial asset, generate that money, invest it, you have the interest, which you carry out your projects without blinking.
That's true. I think people are listening. I think in this conversation, you mentioned Mbemofo, who is an accountant who deals with finances and taxes. Yes. I think Gaza Media will also reach out to him so that he can also elaborate more on this. I think this is something that Lebang people need to sit back and reflect on it, and maybe begin to figure out what His Majesty is really proposing.
Yes, Doctor. Like I said, we have it all. We have the financial analysts, we have the doctors, we have the engineers, we have in Lebang. Mbemofo was just an example. We have so many financial analysts or many people, sons and daughters of Lebang who are in the finance field. My role is to float the idea. They who are in the field, they who are more exposed, can now sit down and develop it in the better way that is going to help us to project or to realize this, and then now bring it back to us. You see, it's the same idea with the road committee. It was floated, and now a team, Dr. Joe Fotuchan, who is an engineer in his field, he came up and he's showing his expertise, and we're seeing that. So I also expect a son or a daughter of Lebang who is in that finance domain to pick up this idea and go in and do some research and bring us good results and tell us that these are secure financial assets that we can invest in. We get this money and invest in and wait for our returns secured. So that's the whole idea.
His Majesty, I think it's mind blowing, and I think, of course, I think people would really like to embrace it, and we cannot wait to have this conversation continue to flow. His Majesty, yes, those were the two key things that I really wanted us to discuss on that Gemini convention. Now, immediately after that, you flowed the former president of the Focolare movement, Mrs. Maria Vog, passed away. Immediately, it was like, I mean, that was just overwhelming. Then you went there. I think at the same time they were doing the death celebration. They were keeping it at the Mariposa Center in Fontem at the Club. I mean, it really showed the tight connection of the Lebang people. I think I should also acknowledge you for at least continuing to build that relationship between the Focolare movement and the Lebang people, then the Liberian people at large. His Majesty, there's this issue that came up, the crisis of the diocese, the bishop take over of the civilian. There were a lot of outcry, the Lebang people felt so threatened. It's like Then later on, the President General, Barrister Chair Manuel, wrote a communique saying no, they are having a backlog discussion with Majesty. Majesty, I just want to take the opportunity to ask you, where are we now? Should we have hopes that our beloved Salon will remain within the Focolare? Because Lebang person, Libyan person, Focolare as there.
Yes, the Focolare movement has been part of us from time immemorial. And when the whole saga came up, it's just things were blown out of proportion, and so many people were talking without listening. Like if you remember in my address today, I said that our people talk a lot, especially in forums like Lebang, Lebang Fontem forum. We talk a lot without listening. At some point, when you see something, before making an utterance, it's always good to make verification. I had a conversation with the bishop, and the bishop told me his part or his involvement or his reason for writing the letter he wrote. And the long and short of it is the bishop wanted to help. But the information flow between what the bishop was doing and what I was receiving was not there. There was not, that information flow had a disconnect. And because that disconnect was there, it erupted to all what you saw on the social media. But we have been able to manage the situation to a level where we are looking for a lasting solution. We believe that there is a lasting solution somewhere, somehow. And the bishop is very calm. The bishop is very willing to listen to us. And we are also in communication with the president of the Focolare movement, Margaret.
Yeah.
So we have written a number of correspondence to Margaret, and we are waiting for the response to those correspondence. Because the proposition we are putting to her is that there need to be a sit down. There need to be a sit down between the Focolare movement, the diocese, and the Lebang people. When these three, the tripartite, sit down, then we are going to know the way forward. So while we are waiting for Margaret, I'll continue to urge the Lebang people to be calm. I'm happy that the President General, through his communique to the Lebang people, first of all, asked for calm, and then our people were calm. I'm happy that in the various forums we're able to stop the talking, and I just continue to urge our people to be calm. When we have been able to secure this meeting between these three parties, then the way forward is going to be there. But the Lebang people should be rest assured that the Focolare movement is going nowhere. The Focolare movement came to stay. The Focolare movement has its members who have been buried in Lebang soil. So there is no day that they are going to go anywhere. So we'll definitely find a way forward in the present situation. Yes.
Yes, His Majesty, I know we have the fundraising that is going to start soon, but His Majesty, let me just ask you this question. You travel a lot. You go to anywhere, you meet Lebang people, even in Cameroon, people that you have never met before. Yeah, for me, you know me, you know other people that you see them here. You may move to, tomorrow you move to a different state, you see different people, you go to here, you are seeing new faces. I just want to ask you, how are you able to connect so that you have a conversation like the one that we're having now? How are you able to just get that acquaintance? Just connect. Is it because morning ask in some way or you are somewhere? Well, how are you able to really relate?
It's a very difficult thing to relate, but I try my best because first, I'm very poor at recognizing people. If I've not met you 1, 2, 3, 4 times and we've really done something, if I just met you only once, the next time when we meet, I may not recognize you. But I'm happy that my people always recognize me, and when someone approaches me and the moment he says, yeah, and then greets, then we just get going. We start talking. And the first thing, how are you? How is your family? How is the community? If you're out here, do you belong to LECUDO? Because LECUDO is our family. It's our family meeting. Is there LECUDO in your hometown? If yes, how is it doing? If no, why? So that we always have something to.
Yes, always.
Yes,
how is the fund able to just
have something to always
because
ask.
we see you images, we see your images everywhere. You just have this smile in your face with people like you. I see already know these people already. What is going on?
Yes, no. I try to interact with my people as much as I can. Yes.
Maybe okay, a long way. Maybe that's how we long somewhere in
yeah, mbon konte opportunity or mbonjo hangong Lebang anye ale issues which on convention LECUDO USA for Boston nkogabo mbo mofi ambo ngong Lebang nge achinandi Lebang za sembo LECUDO bobyo bacham if njona chinandi Asia ngwashun za America bojame LECUDO enigi ba mambe radio abo mo fi le bu para bobyo bacham bo sem fit together nkwadlebu rasembo Lebang bobyo bon le fit together ndo Lebang donc refi bobyo sim pantale e wonke lo zawasi e jela ejine abonogap because na mbon nsala ndionge ene ngongo Lebang gondo wo selente tro olente alawozo nlengazo olente alawozo lengboli olente alawozo nigi Lebang future Lebang anomali kiwo so lenchem lente kilo Nigeria wada Lebang sengenzo ota sengen eta sengebo anebele ta sengebo otonte nyezo ngo sengo akọ ala ndo ala ejibio nongenzo so appeal as a assembly bebio becham if we on board okay and only last week end of July amo ngongo Lebang abetanga mo onu be it in the US or in Cameroon because gotanga Cameroon ala tebio bi America buga ko ala film convention so sungabu no ala is botang LECUDO General Assembly or branch meetings bebio be bintang amo onu again because ato obebio nganga and LECUDO nsongo no la bebio mo serious because ala ejibio bebio bitebo mama won ya se fa football Lebang if you bebio atebo so aso enthusiasm mombong ambobio etechanga obo ele bebio fi padle Lebang bebio amo won yi asimbo won Lebang chi mo tebo so ngo ba na na mutale awonga nja asimbo mo Lebang ma fa fi we padle Lebang te ndela yo bon ma botong khi bi mo nganga bon bebio nyok tinchan elo velo ala ejibio aganso bon konte